So the 8.7.0 mid-chapter patch just came to PTB, and from what I've played, almost every single change that has been made is actually really positive, and I have almost no complaints, other than one thing that personally I think they should revert, but it's just early days, so I might be wrong. Who knows? Starting off, I really want to talk about some interesting bug fixes and changes in the patch notes that I found that I think can be very significant for the future. Starting off with one of the best changes that they've made is the Oni flicks are back and easier to use. And if you aren't aware, when 8.6.0 was dropped live, they seem to have shadow nerfed the Oni flicks for whatever reason. From what I see, this seems to be a genuine mistake because they fixed it, and from what I heard, it's actually super easy on console now, which is always a welcoming change. Another thing that I found interesting is that they are finally fixing that issue where you get stunned when you use your power as a knight, which I know has been a long-standing issue ever since his release, and it's finally fixed, so it's such a good thing. Well done, behavior. Now going over the new quest system, I think this has to be one of the biggest changes in DVD because this is basically our battle pass system and it got a huge overhaul. You can pin up to 15 quests, but thankfully whether you have them pinned or not, you still get progress on all of them, whether it be the Rift, Milestone, or daily challenges, and all of these challenges are super easy to do, but still require you to play the game, since some challenges have the 1 out of 10 thing, meaning that you have to do 10 versions and they get a little harder each time. This way, getting the battle pass items seems so much easier, since I was playing a couple games, and just on my first one I was already at tier 9, and the infinite 5,000 blood points at the end of the Rift is a really good change rather than the 100 plus tiers that we have right now, and the new UI looks really good as well, and while I'll miss the other one that we had, this one makes DBD look way more modern, and I think it fits really well. The change in rarity makes sense the more you think about it. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to remove the yellow, but the blue I think fits in DVD a lot more than the yellow did actually. It's really early on to tell, but honestly, I think it looks really nice on the offerings and add-ons, and while I do use a texture pack on my game just because I think it looks better, I checked them out with the default icons and they still look really good. And even though it looks a bit weird, we're all just used to the yellow icons in the first place, but I think this is actually a really good change, and it makes sense, blue being the rare. Now, one negative thing that I have is the haste and hindrance not stacking anymore. When I was playing, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I couldn't really notice it too bad, but I didn't really play too long, and I personally think this could take some of the fun out of the game, especially with some sort of speed build, like for someone like Trapper, who is already not that good, and it's really early days to tell, so I don't have too much to say, although I personally just don't really like the change, but the small speed buff that they gave to certain perks is actually really cool, and I don't mind that at all. Now, this is a really small change, but I'm adding it in just because I think it actually looks pretty cool. Now that you see your perks in the top right corner of your screen before entering, and when you unlock the ability to add another perk, it now has a cool little unlock animation and sound. Take a look and listen for yourself. The fact that now any new character you unlock gets a default perk is really nice and handy for new players, and I think that change is absolutely wonderful. This is yet another small change, but a welcome one nonetheless. It looks like moving forward with future PTBs now, with new characters, we could be seeing them with skins now, since this new survivor now has skins, and I think it would be super cool to actually get some sort of thing like this, maybe not necessarily legendaries or the new ascended outfits, like I'll be going over a little bit later, but it would still be really cool to see these skins so we know we won't just get another Hattie treatment. I haven't even gone over the big thing that comes from this chapter yet. The new survivor, Aurelia Rose, is a really cool survivor. The background, she was listening to Sable Ward's podcast, All Things Wicked, and it inspired her to make a horror restaurant chain of herself. She and her friend Emily started something similar, but unfortunately something went wrong, and Emily passed away from the prop voltage that connected to Emily for the funny scares that they were doing. After this event took place, Aurelia dropped out of college and immediately started training to be an EMT to not feel as hopeless or helpless as she did that night of her friend's death. She saved a billionaire's life and he wanted to help her with her big dream idea, so she hired a couple of friends on the project and they all started on this horror restaurant that changed themes every so often. And it was working really well until they landed on the theme of this weird urban legend slash myth about people getting enveloped by a dark and thick fog. Aurella, of course, not believing this, started getting all the theming when suddenly she heard the screams of a bunch of people and her EMT senses kicked in and immediately went to go help. The farther she went in the fog, though, the more she heard different types of screams, like somehow she was hearing herself scream, when one of those screams was familiar to her, and it ended up being her friend Emily. Hearing her screams, she rushed in without any hesitation, but before thoughts even crossed her mind, it was too late, and Aurella was already deep into the entity's realm and here to stay. Now, her lore is super interesting, and it's pretty cool how they are connecting this character with others, like how they did previously, and I like it a lot. As well as here is her campfire animation. From the shop, there has been some new outfit changes as I mentioned earlier. They now have an ascended set for what looks like the characters that get some big changes to them but don't actually change the character themselves. Legendaries and stuff like this now have a cool new look to them and have a description on what you would actually be buying, so we just don't get another Minotaur Oni skin treatment that doesn't actually have anything unique about it other than the look. And this is such a fantastic change and super nice to have. The ghoul has gotten some nerfs, and from what I've seen, they seem to be pretty good and not too detrimental to any playstyle. First and foremost, they now added a change where if you break a pallet, you lose a stack of your power, and it goes on a short cooldown, so this makes it way more possible to outplay the ghoul and finally make some distance. The next big thing is that they've made some add-on and rarity adjustments, like the iridescent mask now does the same scream effect, but now if you were at least 40 meters away, which is a really nice change because the old iridescent felt a little bit too oppressive sometimes, since almost every hook you got, you were always enraged. They've changed the brown coffee to be purple now, since it's a really good effect in the first place, as well as making the umbrella green now, which all these add-ons are very good changes. The next significant change they've made is the maximum range, and it really shows. You can definitely tell the difference from live and this PTB change, and I actually think this is a perfect spot for him. And then they also changed the bloodstained handkerchief to only be 1 more meter. These changes, however, come with some problems that I found. Bugs are normal, so it's fine, but I still want to mention them. There seems to be a bug that allows the ghoul to get his power back way faster than normal. When you break a pallet, you lose a stack, but because it defaults to 2 stacks, you can get your power back faster this way. A lot of people are playing Ghoul, so I'm sure this won't really slip under the radar, but it's just something to be aware of. There's also a really small bug with the new survivor's hair on this cosmetic that I found, where it gets tinted just a bit more of a lighter blue than it normally is. It goes back to normal afterwards, so it's not that big of a deal. And these are just some of the bugs that I found. When I was playing earlier, I noticed that the menu that you can bring up to see your settings or abandon has been overhauled, and this came as a huge shock to me, and I think it looks actually really nice. I love that you can see which survivor brought which offering, and the fact that it shows you the exact name of the map. It all looks really nice, and I love it. These are the most significant changes that I found in the PTB. Comment whatever you want me to cover next, and I'll be happy to. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and as always, thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your day or night. Take care.